Maybe he was chasing an impala. Now, here are the impala that are snorting at him. So you saw him. Are you sure it wasn't impala, Dave?
No.
Because I did see an impala running. Yes, this is a bit of deja vu of the impala lion Dave found once upon a time. But I think he is down towards that drainage system, so I'm just going to shoot up ahead. Now, we could get a view of him from a distance here. There's no tracks coming across here. Where are you, Mr. T? There we are, monkeys alarming ahead, and that is definitely a first for me in the Sabi Sands, flying up there. It looks like a motorized paraglider, and maybe this is a new invention in anti-poaching. It's making a hell of a racket and stuff like the motorized paraglider. Lots of things running and staring back towards us, but there's the impala alarming and the waterbuck jogging off. I think he's here somewhere in this little area.
It seems as though Brent has lost signal. I just had to rush back to camp. I now have Liam on camera with me this morning due to the fact that John Ray has to leave a little bit earlier to head off for a couple of days on leave. I'm just going to contact Brent on the Game Drive channel, try and get hold of him, see where he wants me to check. I assume he's going to say Aubrey's Road. Brent for Jamie. Brent. I'm just coming up, where's Access Road? Where would you like me to check? Okay, copy. I'll cut along Aubrey's just to check along there, just in case. Brent's just telling me that the monkeys and the impala are alarm calling on Buffelshoek. So there's a possibility quite a strong possibility that Tingana's already managed to cross Buffelshoek cut line, the boundary to our north, and gone into an area where we cannot follow him. But at least we managed to get to see him. I've just been, while I was down at the camp, I was just thinking about this harrier hawk sighting and how incredible it is that all of the birds in the area defend and attack this or try to chase this bird away, despite the fact that it might not be their nest at risk, even to the point that they tried to save that baby squirrel. And it makes complete sense in the sense that you never know whose nest it might be. So that altruism in nature, that is a really, really clear example of it. Just turning my game drive channel down. What an incredible morning. See, nothing ever goes according to plan, and you never quite see exactly what you expect to. And I wonder whether any of you have figured out my track quiz yet. It's a tricky one, and it's one I haven't asked before. And in fact, that's the first time I've ever seen such a clear example of it. Safari Dean has guessed Serval, and Russell and Evie guessed Civet. All three of you have got the right sort of shape, but the size is completely different. So that track was about the size of the top half of my thumb, and I don't have particularly large hands. A civet track, on the other hand, would be about the size of a ping pong ball. If you stuck a ping pong ball in the sand, that would be the impression that it would leave, or that would be the size of a civet's track. A serval's track is also slightly bigger, similar shape, perfect little paw print, but you do get to see the three lobes at the back if you look very carefully. It's not... Now, Chelsea, you've guessed... Well, I've just found where the guys obviously found Tingana. I just saw his tracks coming up this road. Going straight up here. And Chelsea is in one of our newer viewers has guessed some kind of fox. Now, that would, in our particular area, be limited to a jackal. And the chances of us seeing a jackal in this area is relatively slim. We do see them occasionally, so that is a good guess. A jackal's paw print is slightly bigger. That's basically our equivalent of a fox. A jackal's paw print is a bit bigger, and it's got, I've forgotten my tracking book again. The claws are clearly visible in the track. And in terms of, there's quite a big distance between the back part of a jackal's pad, or the back part of a jackal's foot, and the space between the toes. And there's so much what we call in tracking terms negative space. So the part of the foot within the track that hasn't touched the ground, that in a jackal you can draw a perfect cross in between the toes and the back pad. A diagonal cross, like a multiplication sign, in the negative space within the track. And I'd have to show you specifically. Gail and Dory have guessed African wildcat. That's the closest that you've come, and I'll tell you why it's not an African wildcat. Is the length of the stride for an African wildcat would be further apart. Their legs are slightly longer, so they cover a little bit of a bigger distance. And unless it was an African wildcat kitten, which would have even smaller feet, it would not have that sort of length of stride. So the animal that we're thinking of has a long body. Okay, now I'm giving it away because I think I might have caught you out here. A longish body and relatively to its body size, short legs. The African wildcat was the closest guess though in terms of size. An African wildcat's track is a very similar size to the track that we looked at. Slightly bigger, but the strides would be longer. Very well done to Raisa, Marianne, Shannon, and Aaron, all getting the guess right. It was a genet track. So the large spotted or a small spotted genet, it's pretty much impossible to tell from their footprints. That is the animal that Brent had a lovely sighting of last night, and I'll show you a picture of the creature so that I can explain it for those of you who haven't seen that particular animal. But very well done to those of you who are newer viewers that guessed some really, really good guesses, considering there's a chance you haven't even seen it. I'm just going to listen to Brent's just trying to chat to me. I'm going to show you a picture of a genet while I chat to him. That is a genet. Brent? Copy that, thank you. Very cute, very tiny, tiny little cat-like track. But it's not a cat. It is something that is completely separate from the cat family. It could also be the large spotted genet. A similar, very, very similar creature, but with a black tip to the end of its tail as opposed to the white tip. Awesome. Very well done for those of you who got it right. I know I've never asked that before. I'm not sure if you've ever been quizzed on that before. But a nice little one for our various tracking tips that we've been collecting over the last few weeks. Since I'm here on Aubrey's Road, I just thought I'd update you. I've been looking at the leopard tracks wandering up this road. Tingana has crossed our northern boundary into a property known as Buffelshoek. Interesting behavior that we're seeing from him, that constant rasping call, I think responding to, oh, there's an elephant. Cool. There's lots of elephants. Hello, guys. Let's just stop here for one moment. Let them come. There's a little baby that got a little bit of a fright as we drove up. There's two little babies. Oh, they're playing with each other. They're not stressed at all. Wonderful. I wonder which herd this is. Starting to get to know the individual herds quite well. There's a very large female off to the left there. Tusks, they are very much mobile, or fairly mobile for an elephant herd. And I think let's just wait here for the moment. Look at all the scratches on her ears and on her side there from walking through thick vegetation. Hello, Elise. Oh, look at your mouth full of grass that you've got there. Oh, it's gone already. That was obviously clearly enjoyable. That's a tuskless elephant. How very interesting. Right, this elephant is large enough to have grown its tusks by now, but it doesn't have any. And that is a naturally occurring trait in certain elephants. They lack tusks. In a natural situation, about 4% of elephants are born without tusks. Hello. I'm talking about your lack of tusks, but I promise you I'm not judging you for it. Hello. It's all right. How's it, big girl? Hello, big girl. You can come past. It's all right. Hello, girl. That looks like a yummy mouthful you've got there. Hello, big girl, you are beautiful. See? behaving nicely. There you go. Beautiful eye. I love moments like that. You can hear the rasping as they move through the bushes. That is such a special moment. I'm just going to wait for her to move a little bit further away before I reposition. She is keeping an eye on us. It's okay, girl. It's all right. We're not going to do anything. All right, girl. A little bit unsettled by the sound of the paraglider in the air. You can see that in the head swing, in the her body posture, that swaying from side to side, moving her head around. That just was a very clear indication at not that she was feeling aggressive, but that she was feeling a little bit unsettled all of a sudden. And very often with things buzzing in the air, whether it be a helicopter or the paraglider that we can hear or microlight, elephants get that little bit unsettled with it. It stresses them out a little bit, which is why I was just sitting waiting for her to move on past us. But when they walk that close, that you can look into their eyes, it is the most incredible feeling. She's far enough now that we can go and reposition. We'll turn around further up the road and then look back towards her. This morning just keeps getting better and better. I was talking about, before I got distracted by her walking past, I was actually talking about the tuskless elephants and the fact that we had a tuskless male walk past us. So I chatted a bit about the fact that it is a naturally occurring phenomenon. This, by the way, is the entrance to the hyena den that I've just used as a U-turn spot. So I think it's safe to say the cubs will be hiding away from the elephants that have just moved through. So about 4% in a natural population. In certain areas within Africa, the poaching problem has actually led to a tremendous increase in the occurrence of that gene. It's boosted it up from 4% to about 34 to 40% in certain areas in Africa. And that's because obviously the elephants with the biggest tusks get poached, whilst those without tusks do not. That's not something that occurs here. Within this particular part of, well, within South Africa in general, we don't tend to have a problem with poaching of elephants. The incidents are very, very few and far between. So that tuskless elephant is just a naturally occurring genetic variant. Now, the thing about following behind elephants when they're walking away from you is they tend to get a little bit unsettled. Look, that little one's already running off. It's realized that it's being left behind. So we'll wait for them to move slightly off the road, and then we will loop around them rather than try and travel behind them. What happens if you do that is they just keep moving ahead of you. This is incredible stuff. I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel. Tingana has chased an unknown male leopard from Buffelshoek straight into the property, even north of that, to the Manyeleti, and is now calling and scent marking. Brent is racing back because Tingana is coming back south towards us. So phenomenal stuff happening with our leopard dynamics. And Tingana showing his dominance as the male of this area. Now, Thomas said that in his experience, the most aggressive elephant cows that he's encountered have been either tuskless or with broken tusks. Tuskless, Tom, I haven't experienced that much at Djuma. I have had a very large female without tusks loom over me once, just to come and keep an eye on me and make sure that I was behaving myself. But she wasn't showing any untoward sign of aggression. She was just letting me know. There are a lot of theories that females with broken tusks, there's a correlation between aggressive females and females with broken tusks, because they've broken their tusks in some kind of way, and that might be from aggressively clashing with different elephants. It's quite possibly true. I personally have known quite a few, and very, very closely followed quite a few elephants in my time with broken tusks that I haven't found to be unduly aggressive at all. For example, the matriarch of a herd that I used to follow regularly, Queenie, this is not in Djuma, this was elsewhere. She was totally, perfectly relaxed, but one day her right tusk just cracked and broke and fell off. So some broken tusks are caused by cracks or fault lines within the tusk itself, just like some people get cracked teeth or teeth with abscesses. Tom, not discounting your experience at all, it is entirely possible that there is a connection between broken tusked females. And we're of course open to the Kruger, so we get elephants coming in from there all of the time. What I will say is that the elephants have... Oh, never mind, Tingana's come back to us again.
So, amazingly, he crossed into Buffel's hook. He's now back. Aubrey says he just chased another male leopard. So, he's definitely out on the move, keeping all these interlopers out of his territory. So, a busy, busy boy Mr. Tingana is at the moment, trying to keep all these ridiculous young males who are moving in and out of his territory. Okay, he's just gone behind the bush. So let's go forward a little bit. Where's he gone? Oh, there he is. So, good morning to Aaron from the land of the long white cloud. Aaron says, well, if Karula's the queen, does this make Tingana the king? For the moment, yes, he is definitely the dominant male leopard on Djuma. And he's having a bit of a tough time of it at the moment. It seems to be quite a few young males that he's got to see off. Now he's heading west again. So there is a very strong chance he's going to cross our boundary, but we will stick with him for as long as possible.
Okay, come and take it.
He's going back into that very difficult area where we lost him a little bit earlier, but we will try stay with him. Hopefully he chooses a nice elephant path that we can follow him through. So nice to follow him through here, and I think we'll get a nice view. There's a nice big elephant path that I intend to follow as much as possible. And of course not ideal, but better than just going willy-nilly through the bush. And he's doing the same. Looks like he's going to join up with this nice big elephant path.
I was certified.
Now, with Anderson and him taking over quite a lot of Mvula's territory, he's no longer dominant over the majority of Arathusa. That is Mr. Anderson, but he has extended, he's actually increased his territory size quite exponentially to the north, and that's where we are. Okay, I'm just going to try to loop around him, and where it's a little bit less thick. Maybe it's not a little bit less thick. You should be getting a nice view of him shortly. He's going to go up to the beautiful open patch. These elephants are really giving us... Oh, let's just watch those GoPros. There we go. May put ourselves at risk to save the GoPro. Sorry guys, I do need to be on the Game Drive channel for a second, try to get Ephraim in here. FF. What's your position? Yeah, I think best place is going to be on vertical axis. We're probably about 70, 80 meters from it now. There we go, look at that. Using that big elephant path we're talking about. Oh, look, I love it when they do that. Oh, it's buttered popcorn. If he's going to come out at that big scotia on vertical axis, towards those mud wallows.
You know.
Any other stations interested in this position, I recommend, if you are coming, to come quite sharply. I think he will cross through to Sibambili. So much fun following leopards, and especially someone as active as this guy. And he is out patrolling, keeping all the young pretenders to his throne at bay. So he's been kept very busy by young male leopards in the last couple of days, and he has been walking an incredible distance. So not only does he have to keep the young pretenders at bay, his old nemesis, Mr. Mvula, has actually been seen quite frequently in this area, unfortunately just outside of our Travis zone, but he's around as well. But I think... There we go. Morning, everyone. Thank you. Apparently I forgot to switch off my lights once we got going this morning. That's the one thing about heading out in the pitch abject blackness of the dawn. So Steph on YouTube is saying that she's sure Tingana is thinking, meh, it's all in a morning's work, you know, keeping these young pretending males at bay. Can see. What are you thinking, mister? What have you smelt? Haven't he smelt something that's piqued his interest? Not that much though, and he's off on the move again. found something smelly to roll in. Let me just try and get you guys in there quickly. Whoop, whoop. There we go. Busy morning. Pezwood. Oh, he's actually got a kill. So that F said he's just seen a kill here. So what's probably happened is he's made a kill, and then he heard that other male leopard that he went off to chase. He's moving the kill. I can't see what it is yet. I think we're probably going to have to move around to the other side. We'll just have a quick look from here. And
where you guys got that?
so I think he made that kill. Remember when we first found him this morning, he had all that sort of blood and sort of stomach content on his face. And I thought he might have lost the kill. But I think he made the kill, abandoned the kill to go sort out one of these young pretenders that was coming into his area, and now has returned to feast. So we're just going to jump around to the other side of F from there so we can actually see what he's feeding on as well. Can't see what it is just yet. Now, I wonder if it's one of those baby warthogs we see quite regularly in this area. I don't think so. I can't see. We will find out in a few short seconds. I think it's mommy warthog.
Yeah, he's right here.
He's got a mommy warthog. Let me just go forward another few meters so we can see a little bit better. So when Dave?
Yep, that's good.
So it looks like he's caught the female warthog we've seen in this area regularly with the babies. It's definitely an adult female. And we actually got asked last night about Tingana's preference in foods, and he does seem to have a preference for warthog and aardvark, so the burrowing animals. And we have seen him live go completely underground to pull a warthog out of the burrow. This is excellent news. He has eaten a fair whack of it already, and hopefully he is going to hoist this one, unlike the last kill we had with him. And again, he's in the perfect position to hoist, even though he didn't last time. There's a beautiful big scotia, the exact same species that he was next to last time, up above on that termite mound. So hopefully he does take that up the tree. Listen to that noise, listen to that crunching. Just hear him feeding. And look at those, they're called regal blowflies, those big blue flies buzzing around him. And they're busy laying their eggs in that carcass. So he'll have no problem eating the maggots when they're set in. And in this heat that we're having at the moment, there's probably already well, not yet, but by the end of today, some of them would have hatched. So a huge welcome to Ethan, who's joining us for the first time. And Ethan is saying, what's going on here? How does this work? Are these two people in Jeeps? Well, we own open game drive vehicles, Ethan, and we are live in the African bush. And at the moment, we are with the dominant male leopard in our area, and he's killed what looks to be a female warthog, and he's busy chowing down, so to speak, on it. And so, Ethan, twice a day, we go out in our game drive vehicles and try to bring you the wonders of Africa live to wherever you are in the world. So there we go, and at the moment we are looking at a leopard, and we're on an incredibly great leopard streak at the moment. We've had leopard every day for the last 8 days, and it has been absolutely spectacular. So welcome to Safari Live, Ethan. Realize where it is, but I think once they get into the general area, their nose takes over and they follow that to the carcass. There we go, he's opened that up using his molars and molars as a big cutting tool to cut open the skin, and now you'll see him as he gets in there. There we go, he's still cutting, but he uses his incisors between the canines to grip and rip meat off. There we go, nice big chunk there. And then when he turns his teeth there, he's just cutting off a bit of sinew by the looks of things. So one wolf in South Carolina is asking us a question for the first time. So we do encourage that one wolf, keep asking questions. And he'd like to know if Tingana came across Quarantine or Djuma, who are 2 young male leopards, would he chase them as well? Most definitely, he wouldn't want them in his area. He's not related to them, so he would have very little tolerance. And if he managed to get hold of one of them, he would try kill them. Look at that. So Justin has got a very interesting point. He says, is it not possible that the leopard Tingana was chasing could have made this kill and he's stolen it? It is very possible, although in this particular circumstance, I think it's unlikely, and that's just from the tracks we were following. So I'm pretty sure he's made this kill, and then possibly heard that other leopard calling to the north, and that's what set him off on his march. So from the tracks, pretty confident that he made this kill, and has then moved off to chase the other leopard. But in normal circumstances, Justin, it is a very, very strong possibility. Male leopards are not adverse to scavenging off other leopards if opportunity arises. Oh, look at that, Dave, did you see it? Just come, oh, he flew out. It was a little yellow pansy butterfly that actually landed on the carcass for a second. Attracted to the moisture, no doubt. And you can see, like he did with that impala carcass, how he's put it into a thicket there. There's going to be no visual for the vultures to see from the top. I think it is going to start honking in terms of smell. So you might want to put it in the tree, otherwise the hyenas might use their nose to find him. And you can see how that camouflage works when we pull out a little bit. If you come out a little bit more, Dave, look at that. He almost disappears, and he's no more than probably about 10 feet from us. And just pick up that movement so that those rosettes break up the outline and help him to disappear, so to speak. So Ramey is wondering, how did Tingana know there was another leopard in the area? It's a couple of different ways. He either heard him calling, which is probably unlikely. I don't know how old the leopard was that he chased. Unfortunately, that all happened north of our Traverse area. But I think more than likely he smelt him. Or he could have heard Impala alarm calling, or kudu alarm calling, and gone to investigate. Well, Tingana's getting his bacon this morning. Now, he probably definitely made this kill in the early morning because it is a warthog. Or maybe not, actually, I might be wrong. I'm just trying to have a look and get my binoculars out and see some of the other parts of that carcass to see how old, I think, or how long they've been open and exposed to air for. I think he might have actually got this warthog out of its burrow. Now, he is well known for going underground to grab particularly warthogs and aardvarks. I think he's actually removed this warthog from underground. There are quite a few warthog burrows close to here. Now, warthogs use abandoned aardvark burrows. So normally you would think that this kill was made during the daylight hours because the warthog are safely in their burrows at night. But if I look at that section of the carcass there and how dark and congealed the blood is, I think it's been out in the open for quite a while. So I think he possibly made this kill during the night, and if he killed a warthog during the night, he would have had to remove it from its burrow. They only come out during the day, in the daylight hours. So I think he's actually grabbed it out of a hole. So Clayton's wondering, would wild dogs challenge a leopard for its kill? Clayton, if a pack of wild dogs came through here, Mr. Tingana would beeline for the closest tree, and the wild dogs would definitely take the kill. They're not normal scavengers, but if there is a free meal about and they are able to take it, they will. I've seen them do it before, but it is very unusual behavior for wild dogs. Look at those flies. Morning, Megan. Megan would like to know, will the leopard eat the entire carcass or there are parts that they'll leave? So on an animal like this, Megan, there will be parts that he is unable to eat. So a warthog has some very thick bones, so probably a lot of the spine and the vertebrae he won't be able to break open. The skull he definitely won't, so he will leave that. But all the flesh he will probably try eat, and as well as the internal organs.
Yeah, look by the gate, just above the gate. Now get an access.
It's getting quite warm already. Now, from a leopard's point of view, he's sitting pretty. He's got meat. Oh, he's going to move the carcass. Look at those flies. No, silly, there's a branch in the way. Yes, no, that's not showing that you're a very clever leopard, my friend. But he's big, so brute power is what he will use. Brute strength. This is quite amusing. Yes, no one ever accused royalty of being smart, so he is definitely the king of Djuma, although not using his brain at the moment. And to see if he works it out. Now all he has to do is grab the bottom part and pull from that side, and he'll succeed. Oh, there we go. Are we going to use our head now? Bravo. Or maybe not just yet. No, it's in the same place. Defeated by a forked stick, Mr. Tingana. Diana is wondering how far did he move to chase that other male. Not too far, Diana. Probably about 1 kilometer or so. And that other male went scampering off into the Manuletti. So I'm sure he's feeling very chuffed with himself at the moment. Actually hear that buzz of the flies. Just this constant. The regal blowfly is the majority of those. They're actually quite pretty as flies go. They've got they're royal blue in colour with an obvious red face. Maybe we will get a closer look at one. So, a big welcome to Harvick, who's a brand spanking new viewer and would like to know what is a Tingana. That in screen at the moment eating the warthog is a Tingana. He is a male leopard. He is the dominant male leopard we see on the live safari drives, and we have been spending quite a bit of time with him recently, And so Tingana is his name. It means the shy one in Shangaan, which is the local language around here. And when he first moved into the area, he was very nervous and scared of cars. As you can see, he no longer is, but that his name stuck from when he first arrived.
Now the channel I will be putting out for engine.
So as I was saying a little bit earlier, he's sitting pretty at the moment. He's got quite a nice bunch of meat left. And if we come out, you can see he's got a perfect tree if hyenas happen to come around to hoist it into. And then he's got the bar right next door as well. So he's got a lovely pan right there to drink. So he's literally in leopard heaven at the moment. Meat, water, shade, tree. Great.
I'll give you a gap. I have to take a picture of the in English place. Because here is only going to be one dress on the sample, so that's the next.
So Lenny said he knows it looks like it's effortless for a leopard to hoist a kill, but it must obviously take some considerable energy since we often find them feeding on the ground. Well, yes and no, Lenny. The main reason we find them feeding on the ground is quite often it's quite difficult or uncomfortable for them to feed in the tree. So even when they hoist, sometimes they will hoist a kill, and then when they want to feed, they'll bring it back down to ground, like Karula did on last night's sunset safari. Now, the thing about Mr. Tingana is he'll probably back himself to defend this carcass against one hyena. So only when multiple hyenas come through will he probably move off. Lions, of course, if even a lioness came in here, he would abandon that carcass without too much of, without any of a fight. But it's less likely. So I think one of the main reasons, being such a big male, is he will feed on the ground because he sort of does back himself. I have seen him give the hyena a clip around the ears before. But after chasing, if a single hyena comes in here, he manages to see it off. What he will do is probably then hoist the carcass. Now, with a big warthog, this does look like quite a big warthog. Let's just go to its head quickly, Dave. I want to try and see if it's a male or a female. And if it's a male warthog, I have to tip my hat. And that's why he's a bit stiff. Now, a male warthog is bigger than him. It's very difficult to see from this angle. I can't see all the warts. But if it is a male warthog, which I'm thinking it might be just judging from the head, a male warthog is a good 90 to 100 kilograms. So over 200 pounds. And he's just below that. So, and they're incredibly powerful animals. They're very strong. If this is a male warthog, this is seriously impressive. I'm just going to move a little bit, see if we can see whether it's a male warthog. We're just trying to see. I'm just going to see if we can get a spot on his face, and You got the... I must have got forward a bit, Dave.
You would have a look here.
So we're just trying to see if it's a male or female warthog. I think it's a male. Just the way the head is lying is going to make it quite difficult. But let's go back to look at the leopard. Now, this is quite an interesting new viewer we have here, just from the name. So a huge Safari Live welcome to Ginger Fuzzy Kitty. And Ginger Fuzzy Kitty says, aren't we in danger being this close to this big male leopard? How's that, Dave? Let's just change the angle a bit. How's that? There we go. So, as you can see, he's more interested in eating and trying to keep the flies off him than he is in us. So, we are in no danger, and that's not to say that these incredibly powerful animals cannot be dangerous. But fortunately, I spent a lot of time with them and reading body language and animal behaviors, pretty much what we do out here. So he's showing no signs of aggression towards us. He's actually showing no sign of interest in us at all. And he will, if he started showing certain signs of aggression or upsetness, we'd move further away, or we might even just leave him alone. But Ginger Fuzzy Kitty says she can't even get near her cats sometimes. Now, cats are difficult creatures. Fortunately for me, I definitely think I can read wild cats better than domestic cats. Almost looks like he wants to move it, and he's not sure yet. So while we sit here and Tingana decides whether he's going to move the carcass or not, Jamie's got some great grey beasts to show you with a little pink around the ear. Oh, so you're still with us? Sorry about that. And he did seem like he might move then, so we're still here. And it does look like he's sort of deciding what to do. Or is he just trying to find a new spot to feed him? Oh, look at that. Got a nice big chunk of meat there. I'm thinking he might move it, so I'm going to wait another 20 seconds or 30 seconds to see what he does. Just move slightly forward for you there, Dave. There. There we go. He's starting to feed on the neck. Now, warthog is quite an interesting species, so you can actually see the subcutaneous fat layer. And you'll see in different parts, a very thick white section is fat. Okay, I think he's just going to carry on feeding in this position. It doesn't look like he's going to move the carcass. So, as I said, Jamie's got a big grey beast who's got a very large subcutaneous fat layer. So let's go see which one it is.
I'm not going to distract you for too long from Tingana, but I just wanted to show you something, a relatively unusual sight at Buffelshoek Dam. There is a female hippo here. And the reason that I know it is female is that there is also a rather tiny baby alongside with her, resting its head on mom's back. There you can see its little ears. Since it probably can't stand in this particular part of the dam, it's not quite tall enough, standing on its back legs, resting its head on Mom's back. This is the first time I've seen a baby hippo at Buffelshoek Dam. Here comes Mom. You can see how tiny that little one is in comparison. Shame, little one. Your first trip to, as far as we know, into Buffelshoek Dam itself. Hard to tell exactly how large this youngster is. I would guess at a couple of, maybe a month or two. I wonder where they've come from. Obviously strayed quite far in their feeding last night and decided to settle down in Buffelshoek Dam. Not the hippo's favorite place, because it's not quite deep enough for an adult hippo to submerge completely, which means that they sit with their back in the sun for most of the day. It's not an ideal spot. Nevertheless, that's obviously where she has chosen to spend the day. Just an update on the number of elephants that I've just seen. I've had about 3 herds run past me to the south from the property to the north of us, and I'm sure it's the noise from the paraglider that's unsettled them like that. And I also had a very, very large elephant bull around Buffelshoek Dam, and I'm pretty sure that it's a Kruger elephant. It was a huge bull, but he was not running away from us, but strolling away from us at 100 meters away. And it's interesting how we are getting more and more of these elephants coming from the eastern side of our boundary, so on the western edge of Kruger, where there's hardly any road networks. So the elephants that inhabit those areas hardly ever see vehicles and aren't that familiar with vehicles, particularly open vehicles like ours. And I think that's where he's come from. He decided to move off. Our little baby's ducked beneath the surface of the dam. Oh, there we go, up again. Mom's spraying out a little bit of water that's collected in her nostrils. You can see her trying to submerge as much as possible to cool down. Hippo have exceptionally heat and sun-sensitive skin. That is why they are the aquatic-dependent mammals that they are. Even though they come out at night to feed and walk around during the day, they prefer not to be in the heat of the summer sun. And the sun is still very, very strong, even this late into summer and at this early time in the morning. It's one of the reasons why there was that old myth that hippos sweat blood. They don't, but they sweat a red, oily substance that acts as a sunblock. It's actually something that scientists are looking into using, the chemical base or the chemical makeup of that sweat as a potential substitute for sunblock for human beings. It's also an incredibly good antiseptic that cleans out all of the wounds and those sorts of issues. So she's lying with her head under the water, and she'll could be under the water for between 5 to 6 minutes. And welcome again to our new viewer, Ginger Fuzzy Kitty, who wanted to know do the babies only stay with their mothers? Are they not cared for by their fathers as well? And the answer is no. The fathers play no major role in the life of a baby hippopotamus. He will, if the mother decides to stay within the pod itself, within the group of hippos in the dam that the father is the dominant male of, he will protect the whole pod by potentially charging threats. But beyond that, he doesn't play a role in a baby hippo's life. And in fact, most baby hippo, quite a high percentage of baby hippo mortalities are caused by males fighting and very often attacking the youngsters as a sort of misplaced aggression. Particularly in drought situations like the one that we're in, male hippos get incredibly aggressive as space becomes more and more limited, and very often the babies are the first to suffer. So no, it's up to the cow to do all of the baby rearing work. Luckily, she is a very, very large creature, And so there's not much that is a threat to a baby hippo. Anything that would attempt to take on a female like this would be somewhat foolish. Occasionally lions do get hold of them. That does sometimes happen. And unfortunately, with the current drought situation, hippos have reached a much more weakened state across the board. Luckily, we've had a little bit of rain, so the grass right at the end of its growth season has sprouted up, and the hippos have had a chance to bulk up before we go into our dry season. I suspect we've seen the last rain that we're going to see for a long time, so a lot of the hippos are going to really, truly struggle their way through the next few months. And that's when a mother starts to become quite weak and is unable to defend her calf. But for now, we've got lovely sightings such as this to enjoy. I'm going to carry on, see what else I can find. In the meantime, back to Tingana.
So we're still sitting here with this male leopard, and he's making short work of this warthog carcass. Oh, he's moving it. He finally managed to get around that forked stick. Just move forward a skosh. Say when, Dave?
That's good, Brent.
There we go. So I'm hoping he does take it up a tree. Oh, he's eaten a fair whack of it already. There's still quite a bit of meat left. Positioning himself slightly awkwardly for us. And let's just see if we roll forward a bit. We might get a better view. Don't think so though, I'm afraid. I think we might have to make our way around to the other side of him. See if we can find a window through this thicket. Oh, I think that's probably the best. It's not great. You got it, Dave? It's in quite an awkward spot at the moment. Now, Richard is saying, he says it seems like a lot of books and documentaries portray leopards as far more arboreal than they actually are. Well, they are very arboreal, but it's very interesting. The behavior depends on the individual and on the area they're in. So, leopards in an area where they don't have a lot of hyena pressure will actually, and lion pressure will not even put the kill in the tree that much, rather feed it on the ground. Of course, here they do hoist quite a lot due to the large population of other predators that abound in the Sabi Sands. But even a massive male like this would have probably struggled to lift a full warthog into a tree. And you will find a lot of the leopards will start feeding on these animals on the ground. And once they've sort of lightened the load, so to speak, they'll take them up into the tree. So unfortunately not the best view at the moment from where we are. Well, Errol, who's a recent Safari Live addict, says he's playing tug of war. Maybe he thinks the flies are on the other end. I think what's happening is as the sun gets higher, he's moving it slowly and slowly as the sun creeps in from this eastern side of the bush. He's trying to drag the carcass towards the west where he's going to have a bit more shade. So, a big Safari Live welcome to Brian, who's another new viewer. And Brian would like to know, do all the animals not react to being watched so closely and for so long? Brian, each individual animal is different, but most of them are very relaxed around our presence. But we have been spending some time with an unrelaxed male leopard that we have been slowly habituating. And in a couple of days, he showed marked improvement and let us get quite close to him towards the end. But it is a process, and it's a respect thing. And the animals will tell you if you're too close, their body language and their general demeanor. So if you are too close, move away and just give them their space. And if you do that correctly, then I can't see, we never have any problems with these animals. So while we don't have the best view of this leopard in the thicket there, we will try reposition shortly. But just to let everyone and remind everyone, so we don't have any confusion, we will be changing safari times tomorrow. The sunrise safari will be going out half an hour later. So we'll be going live from 0600 Central African time, ending at 0900 Central African time. And if you're in the eastern part of the States, we'll be going live from 12 midnight till 3 a.m. And if you're in the west, we'll be going live from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight. That is the sunrise safari. The sunset safari will be going out at 15:30 Central African time, ending at 18:30. And if you are in the eastern part of North America, it'll be going live at 9:30 a.m., ending at 12:30 p.m. And if you're in the west, on Pacific Standard Time, you will be going out at 06:30 a.m., ending at 09:30 a.m. We're just going to try and maneuver again. We've got a better view from there, Dave. How's that? There we go. Morning. Baie goed, dankie self. Ek weet nie. Ons het hom gevind, soos dit nou. Ja, big one. So there we go. We can see he's making short work of this warthog. He almost seems to be feeding in quite a hurry today. And he was quite hungry when we saw him last night. As we know, Tingana is quite a specialist when it comes to warthogs. He actually goes underground to remove them from their burrows. Eileen is wondering if there's ever been a record of male leopard littermates forming coalitions like lions and defending a territory together. I'm afraid not, Eileen. They definitely go their separate ways. So guys, we've had such a long, wonderful sighting with him. There are some other vehicles who would like to come in, so we're going to let them do that. And we'll definitely come back to check on the sunset safari, what he's up to, and maybe he will have put it in a tree. Aubrey? Aubrey, you're more than welcome to make your way straight in. I'll make space for you. So guys, we're going to leave Tingana and let Orbs, who helped us find him this morning, come in, and we will be back definitely on the sunset safari, but let's go see what Jamie's up to.
Liam's just had a genius idea on the subject of Tingana. Can't believe I was so slow in thinking of it. We are on the road that Tingana walked down last night with Brent on the sunset safari. And I have Liam's trusty calipers. And we're going to see if we can't figure out exactly what the size difference is between Mvula's foot and Tingana's foot. I'm just trying to find a nice, clear example of the tracks because he walked down this road with a vehicle behind him. So most of the nice ones have been driven over. And I think our best solution might be towards the drainage line where he veered off the road a little bit. So that's been my plan for the last part of the sunrise safari. And it's nice because we know specifically that these tracks were made by Tingana. There we go. Here's some nice clear, I say nice ones, they're clearish ones. You'll have to trust me in the answers that I give you. I'm just going to pull over to the side of the road here. We've got a tree. We've got a big tree that's very much interfering with my plans. Okay, can you sort of see them from there, Viam? Cool. All right, everybody get your pens and your paper out. We just quickly measure before we come to the end of our sunrise safari. Okay, this is his right side, this is his left side. I'm going to try to do this without putting myself in his track or in the light that's illuminating his tracks. Let's do left first. It's going to be easiest for you to see. This is his left front, much bigger, much rounder than his back. And it is, drum roll please. Interesting. 10.3 for his left front. His hind is, that's very interesting. His hind foot is 11.3. How interesting is that? Check that again. No, that's definitely true. 10.3 and 11.3 for the back track. Now if we go across to his right foot, oh, this one's a bit tricky to see. Just degraded a little bit. There's the back, there's the top. That is fascinating. It must be the way that his weight has fallen. It has to be. Because this front track on his right foot is 11.7. So very close to the size of Mvula's right front foot. And his back foot on his right side is 11.1. No, probably closer to 11. That's very interesting. What a curious state of affairs. I wonder if it's not somehow the way that his weight has fallen. That also makes sense, that if you've got a bit of a slope in terms of measuring tracks, that it plays a difference. I cannot believe there's such a difference in length between his back left foot, which is much, much longer than his front left foot. But there you go. We're adding to our data all the time. I hope you've all recorded those measurements. And we have to keep doing this in different soil substrates as well, because different sand makes different tracks look bigger. It's interesting. That's not what I was expecting at all, William. Mvula's front right track is bigger than all of Tingana's tracks, I think. Yes, Mvula's front right was 11.8. The biggest track that we got here, what did I say, was 11.7, Tingana's front right. Now, there you go. I'm going to keep this project going, and we're going to measure track sizes in different soil substrates, because that's going to play a huge role in the size of the tracks.
Work out the average.
Work out the average, yeah. Interesting. So there's another interesting measurement. Tingana's back left was 11.4, bigger than his front left, which is, to me, quite interesting. We know that the back tracks are slightly narrower, but that's very interesting that it went in that sort of direction, whereas Mvula's back left track was 10.4, so much, much smaller. I think the soil substrate and any kind of gradient on the side of the road plays a role in whether or not the tracks are slightly bigger or slightly smaller. The more weight they put on the track, the larger the track's going to be. This is a fun project. I'm enjoying it. Might disappear slightly through this dip. Let's just try and get through to the other side. Might be okay. Tracks on that path. There we go. Back up at the other side. We're drawing to the last sunrise safari. Brent's still carrying on with his incredible cat streak that he's had over the last few drives. He's going to be very, very happy about that. And of course, the prospect again at Tingana this afternoon. I must say, I really, really enjoyed every moment of my Djuma harrier hawk sighting. I've never, ever had such an extraordinary sighting of one of those birds in my time in the bush, and I'm so glad that I was able to share it with all of you, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the slow motion version, because of course you guys could all watch that, but I can't see exactly how it played out. And we're going to finish off our sunrise safari with a herd of ellies this is the herd that was running away from earlier. So we're going to stop here, and we're just going to let them move slowly off the road. See the behavior of that female at the back. Just a little bit unsettled. Just a quick reminder for all of you that if any of you are confused about time changes, you can go to the blog.wildearth.tv and get a better idea of exactly when our show will be on, or when our safari will be on. Oh, not happy elephants. This is why I'm keeping such a large distance from them. Their body language is so unsettled. But yes, have a look at the different times, see if you can get some information from there, and hopefully we will catch you again on this afternoon's sunset safari. And just a reminder that those time changes will only take effect tomorrow, so on the 1st of April, and I promise you it's not an April Fool's joke. We really are just changing the times to start with the beginning of the month. It is tomorrow, isn't it? Today is the 3rd. Yes, it is tomorrow.
Guess we've got 32 days this month.
We definitely don't have 32 days this month. I'm going to let these Ellies slowly move away from me. Give them plenty of space. Shame, they've obviously had a very stressful day. That trumpet was probably one of the youngsters feeling a little bit unsettled and upset. Anyway, we've come to the end of our sunset safari. Wiem, thank you for all of your fantastic camera work, as well as to Jandre, who was the cameraman for the first half of the show. I'm going to say goodbye on Brent's behalf as well, and a big thank you to Dave, who was on the back with Brent. An incredible sunrise safari once again. Thank you to the lovely ladies in Final Control, to Jerry and Lou, who direct and make very difficult choices between different extraordinary sightings. And always our tech team working in the background. Most importantly, thank you to all of our viewers for your questions and your comments. They really make a vast difference to our drives. It makes us feel like we have you on the back with us. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you for the sunset safari. Cheers.